So here comes the part 4 of relative clause. And we're still exploring relative pronoun. If you haven't watched my previous videos, please go back and watch it first before you watch this. If not, you will not know what's going on. And we've already talked about who, whom, which, and that. So today we're going to look into whose. So whose is actually the possessive form of who. What does it mean? What is possessive form? So possession, possessive, possess. These words mean you own something. So whenever we see the word whose, we know that it's about possession. It refers to someone's belonging. Take a look at the following examples. You may know when we use whose. So when we want to use relative clause, it is always because we want to combine two sentences into one. And a relative pronoun is used to replace a noun or a pronoun in one of the sentences. So take a look at these two sentences. She is my classmate. Her voice is loud. And when we combine these two sentences into one, it becomes she, whose voice is loud, is my classmate. So what does whose, the relative pronoun, replace in the original sentence? Okay, if you match the words one by one, you will find out that whose actually replaces her. In the sentence, her voice is loud. The word her in her voice is actually a possessive adjective, showing possession, whose voice. Oh, the voice belongs to her. So it's a possessive adjective. And because we need to find a relative pronoun to replace a possessive adjective to show the possession, show that someone owns something. So we need to pick whose to replace her. And always remember, the WH word is used in the relative clause to describe the noun right in front of the WH word. So here, the word whose is used to describe the noun right in front of this WH word, she. So we know it is the possession of she, the noun, the subject. So whenever you see these possessive adjectives in a sentence, my, your, his, her, its, their, our, if you see these possessive adjectives and you need to find a WH word to replace these possessive adjectives in a relative clause, then we'll choose whose. Take a look at this example. My mother loves to wear hats. Her friends are fashionable. So, if we put these two sentences into one with a relative clause, it will become my mother, whose friends are fashionable, loves to wear hats. So you can see that whose here replaces her in her friends are fashionable. And this whose, this word, actually describes my mother. The word just right in front of the WH word to show her possession. So her friends. So this is how we use whose. One more example. Tom is my neighbor. Tom's father is a fireman. And when we combine these two sentences, it will become Tom, whose father is a fireman, is my neighbor. You see Tom's father, Tom apostrophe S, is, well, it means possession. Tom's father. So if we want to find a pronoun, a relative pronoun to replace Tom's in the relative clause, then we need to use whose. So whose in the relative clause replaces Tom's to show Tom's possession. Alright? We also use this WH word, the whole relative clause, to describe Tom. The word just right in front of the WH word. The noun just right in front of the WH word. We're describing Tom. So the extra piece of information is about Tom. So whose in this relative clause shows possession. Who owns the subject. Hence the father in the sentence. So remember, in this video we just talked about whose. And whose is used to replace possessive adjectives like my, your, his, her, its, their, our. Okay, so if you see these possessive adjectives, then you can use whose to replace them in a relative clause. Okay, if you're not sure what relative pronouns means, or you are still not so sure about the format of relative clauses, please go back to my previous videos and take a look before you rewatch this video again to understand how to use these relative pronouns more. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye!